You see her? My dad said, laughing as he raised his glass. 34 years old and still can't make us proud. My aunt smirked. Didn't she quit another job? Every fork stopped moving. I felt their eyes on me. Dad leaned close. You're the family disappointment, Rachel. Always have been. Then someone started pounding on the front door. My name is Rachel Whitmore. I'm 34 years old. I work as an administrative assistant at a small logistics company. It's not flashy, not impressive to my family, but it's steady and honest work. I've always been the quiet one, the daughter who didn't chase status or big titles. My younger brother was the one they always praised, the prize child with a business degree and loud confidence. I wasn't rich or glamorous. I didn't drive a luxury car or post beach photos online. But I had something they didn't expect: patience. Focus. Growing up, my dad ran a small construction business. He loved control and attention. If you didn't fit his picture of success, you were either ignored or mocked. I spent years trying to prove I was enough. After college, I struggled with anxiety and switched jobs more than once. They called it quitting. I called it surviving. What none of them knew was that I had been building something quietly for years. And that night, when he called me a failure, he had no idea what was already moving behind the scenes. If you've ever been labeled a disappointment just because your path looked different, hit that subscribe button. Tell me in the comments, have you ever been underestimated by your own family? Click hype if you believe quiet strength still counts. Now let me tell you what happened that night. The dinner was supposed to celebrate my dad winning a new city contract for his construction company. The house smelled like roasted meat and sweet wine. He stood at the head of the table like a king. Instead of thanking everyone, he pointed at me. Some of us build real businesses, he said loudly. Some of us just float. My cousin laughed. Maybe Rachel can organize your paperwork, Uncle. I forced a smile. I'm actually doing fine, Dad. He slammed his glass down. Fine isn't success. Fine is what mediocre people say. My brother leaned back in his chair. You just don't have the drive. They compared his promotion to my simple job. I felt small. I stood up. I'm going home. Dad scoffed. See? Can't even handle a joke. Then came the pounding at the door. Hard, sharp, the sound echoed through the hallway. When Dad opened it, 2 police officers stood there. We need to speak with you regarding financial discrepancies tied to your latest contract, one said. Dad laughed too quickly. That's a mistake. The officer replied, we have documentation suggesting falsified safety reports. The room went silent. I could hear the clock ticking on the wall. Everyone stared at him. He stared at me. I already knew exactly what those discrepancies were. Later that night, he cornered me in the kitchen. You're jealous. That's what this is, he hissed. The smell of burnt coffee hung in the air. I kept my voice steady. I didn't call anyone. He pointed a finger at my chest. You've always wanted to see me fail. That cut deep. The next morning, my brother started messaging the family group chat. She's always had issues, he wrote. She's unstable. A cousin sent me screenshots. My hands shook when I read them. Betrayal feels heavy. Then Dad called me again. You work with paperwork, he said. Tell them this is normal business adjustments. I knew what he was asking. If it's clean, you won't need me to lie, I replied. He went quiet. Investigators began requesting files from his office. I heard he was deleting documents, calling it routine cleanup. My aunt pulled me aside at church. Family stands together, she whispered. You don't embarrass your own blood. I looked at her and said softly, I'm not embarrassing anyone. The truth is, Dad kept saying he was being targeted unfairly. I stayed quiet in public, but inside I was alert. I had seen the safety inspection drafts before they were changed. I remembered the numbers. I remembered the dates. And I remembered the look on his face when he asked me to adjust them. What they didn't know was that I had been helping a compliance consultant part-time for 2 years. My boring admin job taught me how to track revisions and compare document histories. Months earlier, Dad had asked me to proofread a safety report. When I opened it, the numbers did not match the original inspection notes I had briefly seen. I felt a knot in my stomach. I saved copies. I kept the timestamps. I forwarded myself email chains. Not because I wanted revenge, but because something felt wrong. He had told me, just fix the wording. Instead, I archived everything. I even kept voice memos from calls where he admitted cutting corners to win bids. I never thought I would use them. I told myself he would fix it before anyone got hurt. But the night he called me a failure in front of everyone was different. Something shifted inside me. I stopped protecting him from his own choices. I had a folder, organized, backed up in 3 places, and one more person knew about it. That person was Mr. Harold Bennett, our family's longtime lawyer. He had known me since I was a shy teenager sitting in his office lobby after school. Once, years ago, he told me, "You see more than you say, that's power." After the police visit, he called me. "Rachel, if you have information, now is the time to decide who you want to be." His voice was calm, serious. I met him at his office. It smelled like old books and dust. I handed him printed copies and a flash drive. He read in silence. Then he sighed. "This isn't minor. If this comes out publicly, the company could shut down." I swallowed. "What happens if it doesn't?" He looked at me over his glasses. "Then someone could get hurt on one of those sites." Meanwhile, my dad acted confident. "It was paperwork confusion," he told relatives. My brother posted online about another successful contract. Their arrogance grew. Mr. Bennett advised me to submit everything through proper legal channels. Soon, officials requested a formal meeting. Dad still believed I would protect him. "At the end of the day, you are my daughter," he said. I finally understood something. Being his daughter did not mean covering his lies. The meeting took place in Mr. Bennett's office. My dad, my brother, and I sat across from 2 investigators. The clock ticked loudly. Dad straightened his tie. "We've cooperated fully," he said with confidence. One investigator placed documents on the table. "We received additional files this morning." Dad frowned. "From who?" Mr. Bennett stayed quiet. The investigator began reading. "Adjust the safety tolerance numbers. No one double checks." My father's face lost color. "That's taken out of context," he stammered. I spoke for the first time. "Is it?" My brother snapped. "Rachel, stop." I slid a flash drive across the table. "These are the original drafts. Before they were changed." Dad looked at me like he did not recognize me. "You did this?" he whispered. My voice was calm, cold. "You called me a failure. I'm not the one who falsified reports." The investigators compared timestamps. The alter files were created after failed inspections. One of them nodded. "The contract is suspended pending investigation." Dad's shoulders dropped. Mr. Bennett did not defend him. The final blow came when the investigator said, "Thank you, Miss Whitmore, for your cooperation." In that moment, the power shifted. My father, the loudest man in every room, sat silent. He was not in control anymore. And everyone in that office knew it. The company faced heavy fines and a full audit. My brother stopped posting online. Family dinners became quiet. No more jokes. No more labels. Dad avoided my eyes at gatherings. Some relatives blamed me. Others quietly said thank you when no one was looking. I did not celebrate his downfall. I celebrated choosing integrity. I accepted a full-time compliance role with the consultant I had been helping. The same skills they mocked became my strength. I was no longer the family disappointment. I was the woman who refused to lie. I learned something important. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is not proving them wrong. It is refusing to become like them. If you have ever been embarrassed in front of your own family or called a failure just because you chose a different path, I see you. Share your story in the comments. What did they say about you? Subscribe if you are done shrinking yourself to fit someone else's expectations. Click hype to help this story reach others who need it. Did this story hit home? Let me know by liking the video and sharing your thoughts in the comments. Click hype to help this story find others who have felt the same way. Your support makes a huge difference, and I am grateful you are here listening.